الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل وسلم عليه في الأولين، اللهم صل وسلم عليه في الآخرين، اللهم صل وسلم عليه أفضل ما صليت وسلمت على أحد من العالمين. So last time we talked about the story of Adam, which is the most important story. That's why Allah mentioned it firstly in the Quran. Today we have a story in Surah Al-Kahf, which majority of Muslims, they are familiar with Surah Al-Kahf. It's the story of Musa and Al-Khidr. And Surah Al-Kahf, as you know, contains 4 stories. The story of the people of the cave, and the story of the man with 2 gardens, the story of Musa al-Khidr, and the story of Dhul Qarnayn. 4 stories, and we recite Surah Al-Kahf every Friday. We know that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told us, if you memorize and reflect and understand the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf, Allah will protect you from Dajjal. So the first point here is, before we delve to the story, is to try to make a link between Yawm al-Jumu'ah, Surah Al-Kahf, and Ad-Dajjal. Why these 3 connected? So number 1, Ad-Dajjal, Rasulullah ﷺ told us he will come in the end of time. And it's the biggest fitna. What's the main point of this fitna? That Ad-Dajjal, he brought the dunya. He has everything you wish in worldly matters. Allah said in Surah Al-Kahf, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا. We made everything on this earth just zina, just to beautify people, just to then what you wish in this worldly matters. Dajjal will come with all your wishes. However, if you obey him, he will destroy your religion. Why Dajjal in the end of the time? Because in the end of the time, people now will have strong attachment with worldly matters. Strong attachment. Do we see now for a few decades now, when they discover the internet and all this stuff, the people now become strong attached to all the worldly matters. That even sometimes you can't imagine that you can live without your mobile phone. You can't imagine that you live without the internet. That's strong attachment. Sometimes I say to my daughters, me and my wife will go and travel just for 1 week. Are you okay with that? They said, go for 1 month. But just when the internet is there, take your time. So the internet, that strong attachment, that's in the end of the time. That's something not necessary, but for that attachment to become necessary. You thought you can't live without it. In the end of time, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will give ability to a human being to discover everything in this earth. Because this earth is just for a test. The test now is just about to finish. Then they will discover many things in this earth before Allah destroyed all this whole for the test. That's why in this we attend now countless of discovering. That's another sign also that we just go close to the end of the time. Dajjal will come with what you wish from worldly matters. If you are that person who always, you just want that worldly matters, you can't live without it, then that's a sign that a person may follow the Dajjal. That's why sometimes it's a time for reflection, to sit with ourselves and to ask ourselves, what's our priority in this life? Why we care a lot about a lot of worldly matters, and when we lose some religion matters, we don't care. If our salah is not good, we don't care. If we don't give zakat, we don't care. That's a very critical sign. Because otherwise, Dajjal will come and say, what do you want? That's why we should raise our children to have always think about akhirah. We can live without internet. We can live without. This is just something come yesterday. So that strong attachment to worldly matters is a sign that maybe a person can deviate from the path of Allah in the end of the time. So Dajjal came with this. That's why his name is Dajjal. It's just to show you, to deceive your eyes. Just to deceive your eyes. Rasulullah ﷺ said, recite it Yawmul Jumu'ah. Do you have an announcement? Go on, yes.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. There's a car, a Jaguar L11XFS. You're blocking someone in. Please, could you kindly move your car? Someone is waiting to believe. It's a Jaguar L11XFS. Jazakallah khair.
So, Yawmul Jumu'ah, Rasulullah ﷺ told us also that the day of judgment will start at Yawmul Jumu'ah. فيه تقوم الساعة. Day of judgment will start at Yawmul Jumu'ah. That's why the day of Yawmul Jumu'ah is just every time remind us maybe this is the last day in this dunya. That's why it's related to Ad-Dajjal. So Ad-Dajjal is the fitna of worldly matters in the end of time. If you follow that worldly matters, apparently you are safe, you have whatever you wish, but deeply you lose your religion. That's also nowadays. A lot of big companies which have a lot of authorities, if you don't follow these rules or the rules of a big countries, then you will lose a lot of worldly matters. That's a minor sign also, or similar of a Dajjal in the end of time. That's why Surah Al-Kahf, all the stories is just to make you steadfast in this fitna. The story, first story, the story of the people of the cave. People of the cave is just few young people. The only one in the whole city stand before that king. Everyone just enjoy that worldly matters, except those young people. إذ قاموا فقالوا ربنا رب السماوات والأرض. We'll never accept that. Allah is the ruler of this. Allah have over-controlled this world. But they don't have power. They can't do nothing. So they say the haqq, and they left the city and went to the cave and hide themselves till, the end of the story. The second story is a conversation between someone Allah gave him a lot of worldly matters. And he said, أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْكَ. He said, أَنَا أَكْثَرُ مِنْكَ مَالًا وَأَعَزُّ نَفَرًا. I am better than you. Why? What's the criteria here? What's the standards? Because I have worldly matters. I have a lot of money. I have a lot of followers. So I am better than you. Look at these standards. Then the second one, remind that person of the reality. أَكَفَرْتَ بِالَّذِي خَلَقَكَ مِنْ تُرَابٍ. Did you forget that Allah Tabarak created you from dust, from mingle of fluid? Now you become a man, and then you forget all these realities? The second story is in a form of conversation. The first one, the people of the cave, they hide themselves. Sometimes you can't change too much of reality. Then the best solution is just to stay by yourself. Steadfast, stay by yourself. The people of the cave. Sometimes you have more than that to do. You can talk. You can have a conversation with your family, with your friends, with your co-workers, with your colleague. Then whatever there is a place for, a chance for conversation, try to involve. If you see someone who is arrogant and has strong attachment to this dunya, this is a good time for a reminder. Maybe you save some people from fitna to Dajjal. Conversation. Then the third story, which is our story, Al-Khidr and Musa, it's about the secret of Qadarullah. Why this story is in Surah Al-Kahf? Because in the end of the time, you'll find a lot of disasters, calamities, tribulations, that people will ask, what's this? Where is the wisdom behind this? In the end of the time, there is a lot of earthquakes will happen, as Rasulullah said. Then many people will die just one moment. The people arise the question, where is the wisdom behind that? In the end of the time, there will be a lot of wars, as Prophet ﷺ also told us. يَكْثُرُ الْقَتْلِ. Many people will kill in the end of the time. Then the question again, why? The story is try to open our eyes of some of the secrets of the Qadar. Then the last story, Dhul Qarnayn. Dhul Qarnayn is a king. Allah gave him, آتَيْنَاهُ مِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. He can build a strong civilization. He utilized all the matters, but for the sake of Allah, to build a strong civilization. That is the last story to encourage us as Muslims. You as Ummah in whole should follow the story of Dhul Qarnayn. In the end of the time should be a strong country, Muslim country, that follow Dhul Qarnayn and build a strong civilization, and then help vulnerable people. لا يكادون يفقهون قولا. Dhul Qarnayn help people, they are non-Muslims. That's the job of the Muslim country when they are very strong, to help others. So this is 4 stories, all related again to the end of the time. Because Dhul Qarnayn, a lot of followers of Dajjal, they will build the strong civilizations to deviate people. Muslims should also build their civilization to have that balance in this earth. So this is the 4 stories. Our story is about Musa and Al-Khidr. When Musa, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala told him to go and visit Al-Khidr. Who is Al-Khidr? Is he a wali? Is he a nabi? Is he a malak? Is he an angel, a prophet, a wali? The best thing to understand the story of Al-Khidr and Musa is to replace Al-Khidr with the word Al-Qadar. Khidr is the manifestation of Qadarullah. If you want to understand the story, just replace the Khidr with Qadar. For example, Allah described Khidr, عَبْدًا آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. We gave him rahmah from us and knowledge. That's the description of Qadar. The Qadarullah is full of mercy and full of wisdom. That's the description of Qadar. Then the Musa asked to follow Al-Khidr, to have a journey. It's now a very important point. The story, Musa, Allah taught him these lessons through journey. Khidr didn't sit down and tell Musa some theoretical lessons. That's not the case here. It's 3 journeys. فانطلقا فانطلقا فانطلقا. Why through journeys? Because this type of knowledge, the secrets of Qadar, you will never learn it till you go through your own experience. If you read 1 book or 10 volumes about the wisdom of Qadar, about the patience, you never get the lessons till you go through your own experience. That's a type of knowledge you'll never learn, only through that experience. That's why it's through journeys. But Musa said, هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. Musa doesn't want only knowledge. He wants knowledge that lead him to rushd. Rushd is to steadfast on the straight path. Musa taught us that knowledge itself is not enough. Knowledge itself can poison you. If the knowledge doesn't lead to the rushd, to the path of Allah, it will be dangerous. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ warned this ummah, don't be like those type of scholars. They know Quran very well, they know Sunnah very well, but they don't act upon it. They are library, full of informations, but this information doesn't inspire them, doesn't touch their hearts. That type of knowledge is poison. But the knowledge which leads to rushd, أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. The Khidr said, إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. You can't be patient with me. What does that mean? It means in Qadr, sometimes it's difficult to understand the secrets. If you don't have protection from Allah, you lose your patience. Because you see some things, you can't understand the big picture. إنك لن تستطيع. What's the reason? وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا. Why you are not patient? Because you don't know the full story. You don't know what behind unseen. Then they start their journeys. Again, 3 journeys. It means you need to go through own experience. You know, if I read many books about if I lose my child, Rasulullah ﷺ told us this reward and all this reward. Okay, now I'm strong. I thought I'm strong mu'min. Once my own child passed away, it's now big difference. What I read before, this is theory. The practice is completely different. Now I go my through experience. The thoughts will come to my mind from shaitan and nafs is different. That's why Musa went through 3 journeys. And we have 2 perspectives. The first perspective is Musa's perspective, which is our perspective as a human being. And the second part of the story is the perspective of Khidr. It means perspective of Qadr, perspectives of Allah's wisdom. What we see now is different than what Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala meant, or the wisdom of Allah. First journey is they went through a ship. That ship was belonged to Masakin, poor people. What they own is only this ship. That's the source of their provision. Only they have in this dunya is this ship, Masakin. And they always work in the sea. So Khidr made a hole in that ship. Hole doesn't mean it will destroy the ship, but mean they have to go to the coast and fix that hole. It means there is a lot of time they will not find any money now. Maybe they stop for several days to fix that ship. These several days there's no money, there's no work. This is problem. No one like that. That's how the Musa look at it. So Musa now is ourselves. Khidr is Qadarullah. Now if I face a hole in my life, the hole here is just represents if you lose anything in this life. For example, if you lose your job. If you lose your job, this is a hole in that ship. So that means you'll get for a while without job. Exactly like the Masakin, a while without safina, without ship. When you look at just this, why this happened to me? It was a good job. I was very happy with it. Why that happened to me? Look at another perspective now. When they go to the coast to repair their ship, there was a queue of ships. They're all waiting. What are they waiting for? Oh, there is a king Oh no, that king, he always take any ship he find in that coast. So now afraid, they waiting for their queue. When the king now, his servants look at the ship, no, this is damaged. Go and pass, we don't want your ship. Now imagine what's their reactions now. They will say, Alhamdulillah for that hole. They'll be very happy. That hole saved their ship. Can you imagine? Instead of just several days with no job, but now they save their source of provision. When it was COVID-19, I had a friend, he used to work in a company, was a computer, very good, mashallah, in computer, and he was very happy with his job. When the corona came, the company now fire him and many people. So he was very upset, very sad. Why this happened to me? It was a good job. He prayed 5 times a day. He was a good man. Everything is okay. Just after a while, he now started his own business, and he's now started to work from home. And that time he earned 3 times double of his previous salary, and from home. He pray in the mosque, he take care of his children, and he always used to say, Corona is the biggest ni'mah in my life. Look at how in this perspective, he loses his job. That's a hole in the ship. But just after a while, he realized now the ni'mah of that hole. That's also many times happened to our life. Sit down with yourself and think about it. How many holes in your life happen, and after a while, you realize the ni'mah of that. Some of us, they left his country just by a war in our countries, by something. No one like that. But after a while, he realized that's a big ni'mah. He had a big job after that. He raised his children in a safe place. A lot of ni'am. So this is the first type of aqdarullah. In this type, number 1, you'll face difficulties, but behind that difficulties there is a hidden blessings. You just need to sit down with yourself and think about these hidden blessings. In this type of qadar, you will realize the wisdom of qadar in your life just after a while. After a few days, few months, few years, but in your life, you will realize the wisdom. That's number 1. But it's not always we realize the wisdom, because other 2 stories is different. But in these stories, the most important thing here is to realize the wisdom. When you realize the wisdom, is to trust your Lord. Because you may go through another test, you will never find the wisdom. But Allah showed you before some types of wisdom. Then trust your Lord. You know, the big problem when we deal with qadar is we compare our limited knowledge to the infinite knowledge of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala knows everything. Wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. We look just from one angle. Just like when we want to give vaccination to our child. He doesn't like it. He will cry. He will feel pain. Why you do that for me? And the parents are smiling because they know this is just for his goodness, for his benefit. That example, just like it's just to make another parable to the knowledge of Allah. We look at just from the child perspective. This is pain. This has hurt me. Why do that for me? Parents are smiling because they know the full picture. The knowledge of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is beyond us. This story, the first story, happened to Musa. The 3 stories has linked also to the story of Musa himself. In this first story in the ship, it's a reminder of Musa of something in his life. When his mom, when he was baby, and Fir'aun tried to kill every child, Allah said, go and throw that child in the river. Put him in a basket and throw him in a river. If Musa now is adult and saw this, why? That will harm that child. That's a hole in that ship. That throwing that child saved the life of Musa. Because not far of him, a Fir'aun killed every child. A king take every single ship also. That's another parable for Musa himself. The lesson here is, sometimes the loss is just a type of protection. You lose something, only Allah wants to protect you from something bigger. But we need just to reflect upon it. That's the first story. The second story, they went through another journey. فَوَجَدَ غُلَامًا فَقَتَلَهُ. He found a young man. Ghulam means he is not adult. Before he become adult, that's ghulam. So he killed him. He killed him, we interpret now, as there is an accident. Car accident, heart attack, anything. A young man killed. A young man passed away. Khidr is just represent the qadar. That's one of the biggest trial in this dunya. When you lose your own child, or when you lose one of your beloved friends. You never understand it till you go through this experience. It's really hard. So the parents now, that child, that young man, he caused a lot of problem to his righteous parents. Every single day, they raise their hand, may Allah guide this child, may Allah guide this child. And suddenly they receive a news. There's a car accident, your child passed away. What's their reaction? They'll be very sad, they'll be very upset. Even he annoyed them all his life, but after a while they have another child. This time is a pious child. Allah wants to replace that one with this good child. I'm just expect that the parents, even if when they have their new child, they still regret. But if only that child's still alive, they don't look at the full picture. Allah said, فَأَرَدْنَا أَن يُبْدِلَهُمَا رَبُّهُمَا خَيْرًا مِّنْهُ زَكَاةً وَأَقْرَبَ رُحْمًا. We want khayr for them. So they lose this, but they have a wisdom behind that. Because of this is difficult. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala here in this story, He didn't show us that. He showed the wisdom to the parents in their life. Because passing away is a big calamity. And there is a lot of wisdom behind it. Sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know. I remember that 1992, my eldest brother, rahimahullah, he passed away in car accident suddenly. He was electrical engineer. He has 7 children. And his family traveled to Mauritania, and they waiting for him. He just will stay 2 weeks and then he will travel after them. And there's a car accident. My parents received the news. It's just suddenly, you know, when your son or brother just die suddenly. You know, when someone become ill, that's out of mercy. You will visit him in the hospital. Slowly, every time you find some news, that's just to reduce the pain. But if he left the house this morning, and now just after 3 hours, you receive that he passed away, that's very big calamity. So, my father, rahimahullah, we found out that he wrote his will, his wasiyah. His will, he wrote it and keep it in my eldest brother. Can you imagine? My father that time is over 70. So he thought that his child will live for a long time. But actually his son will pass away and my father will remain after him 14 years. When my brother passed away, he has some friends in Mauritania, they lost. They don't care about the salah, about the deen. When that happened, all of them became religious. The incident affected them because they are from the same age, they grow up in the same city. All the children of my brother, they became Huffaz Quran. And they have a very, mashallah, good career, all of them. Because my father take care of them in a way even more than us. Before my brother passed away, 3 days, in our village in Mauritania, 3 different people saw the same dream. And they didn't tell anyone because it's not a nice dream to tell. But when he passed away, a man came and told a woman different. And they saw the same dream. They saw that my brother, rahimahullah, was with the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr and Umar with the white clothes. And he is smiling. So when they saw that, say, oh, that's not a good news to tell. And when he passed away, everyone told us about this story. So, maut, death, is so affected you a lot. But sometimes there is a lot of wisdom behind that. I personally just care about the religion more and more after the death of my brother, rahimahullah. That affected me a lot. I was 16 years old, praying, but praying late, praying because my father wanted me to pray, memorize Quran because my father wanted me to do that, but there is no inspiration to do any of these rituals. It's just because of my father, no purpose in this life, no objectives. But after this, that's the turning point in my life. Remember, I was 16 years old, and I used to write down my kabat in my book, in anything, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ, just to remind me of that. Because death is so difficult. That's why Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala told us we want khair for them. It means any death, there is a khair behind that. Either you realize it in this dunya or in akhirah, but trust you, Lord. He will never take any child from you if you are a good person unless there is a wisdom behind that. Sometimes we don't wake up unless we go through tribulation. Then we wake up. The lessons of loss is fundamental. That's why we have 2 battles in the life of Rasulullah ﷺ, the Uhud and Badr. Badr is a victory, but Uhud is a loss. Do you know that commentary of Uhud came in the order of Quran before Badr? In Surah Ali Imran, the 3rd surah after Fatiha and Baqarah, a long passage, 80 verses just about Uhud. But the commentary of Badr came in Surah Al-Anfal. The point here is the lessons that you derive from loss is more important. Because in Uhud, they lost 70 of companions. Among them Hamza, the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in that lesson, Allah revealed Ali Imran to tell us the lessons. That when we see the people of Gaza They lost their lives, their buildings, their children. This is very difficult situation. Very difficult situation. In Surah Al Imran, Allah told us some lessons when we see this incident. He said first, وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ. Don't feel down. If you are a good Muslim, you are always the superior. Even if you lost this battle or that battle. Because the criteria in this dunya is not just about one battle or one war. It's about the belief. If you believe in Allah and the hereafter, you are the superior, regardless what happened to you. وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوُونَ. You are the superior because you are believers. Number two, إِن يَمْسَسْكُمْ قَرْحٌ فَقَدْ مَسَّ الْقَوْمَ قَرْحٌ مِثْلُهُ. You are not the only one who suffer. Even your enemy are suffering. Even we are live in a time, they try to hide the all information of their suffering, the news. They suffer, as Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said. But there is a big difference. They suffer for nothing. But the good Muslims, they suffer for huge objectives. They want to please their Lord. And third, Allah said, وَيَتَّخِذَ مِنْكُمْ شُهَدَاءَ. Allah said He wants to choose. Yattakhid is amazing. When Allah talk about the martyrs, He say, I want to choose from you some martyrs. When you look at the people of Gaza, you see just a building, whole building, in one moment, destroyed. All the families passed away. As what we see, oh, they are unfortunate. They lost everything in this life. But in Qadr perspective, if we can see unseen, they are now smiling, enjoying their life after in Jannah, and they even say, what do you do here in this dunya? Come and join us. That's what Allah said in Surah Al Imran. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا. Don't think they are dead. They are alive, but you don't know. Not just alive, mustabshirin. They are very happy. Just once they passed away, they went to Jannah. So they look from their perspective, we look from other perspective. Then Allah said, وَلِيَعْلَمَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلِيُمَحِّصَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. He said, why these trials? To make a distinguish between a true Muslim who really want to sacrifice anything in the sake of Allah, or from those Muslims who are Muslims just by inheritance. They born as Muslims, they know nothing about Islam. Allah wants to know who is the true one. That will never happen except with tribulation. Every time some voices arise and try to deviate and try to mix the truth with falsehood among Muslims, that's another benefit of tribulation, to distinguish. Exactly like Rasulullah ﷺ in his life. Every tribulation just distinguish between true Muslim and. Then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala then said, what if the leaders of Muslims, they die? That's a big loss. Allah said the big leader is Rasulullah ﷺ. There's a rumor spread that he passed away. وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ انقَلَبْتُمْ عَلَىٰ أَعْقَابِكُمْ. If the leader passed away, does that mean you will leave the Islam? Islam doesn't depend to anyone. Even Rasulullah ﷺ, if he passed away, Islam carry on. And then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He carry on with a lot of lessons. One of these lessons say, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تكونوا كالذين كفروا وقالوا لإخوانهم. O believers, don't say to those people who are suffering now in Gaza that, oh, you know, you are the problem. If you just being quiet and don't do anything, then you'll never die. Allah said that in Surah Ali Imran. Allah replied, do you think that death is depend to war only? Do you think if you are in your own bed, in your bedroom, you are safe, you are far away from death? قُلْ لَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُيُوتِكُمْ لَبَرَزَ الَّذِينَ كُتِبَ عَلَيْهِمْ. If the time of your death come, you will die in your own bed. So don't say that to your brothers to make them feel down. And he carry on with a lot of lessons. Why? Because we need these lessons in the tribulations. We need to feel that we are superior. If we are a good believers, the ummah was sleeping for a long time. If Allah want to wake up the ummah, then there was a tribulation will happen. Without that tribulation, ummah will never wake up. That's the sunnah of history. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala told us in Quran. This is the second story. The parents, they don't know the wisdom. The entire life, sometimes I don't know the wisdom. The last story is a story when the Musa and Khidr came to that city. They asked for hospitality. Can you imagine? They are very thirsty, very hungry. And they are strangers. And they knock every single door. And everyone refused to give them a cup of water. What's this city? Only one family in that city, one house. In that house, the father passed away. He was a righteous, pious man. And he left 2 orphans with their mother. The only good family in the whole city. Because the father knows his people. They are very stingy. So he hid the treasure under the wall. That wall is just about to fall down. Khidr repaired that wall. Again, Allah sent something, then he hid that treasure. After many years, when they grow up, they found their treasure. The first lesson here, be a good Muslim. Allah will protect you and your children. If you want to save the life of your journey, it's not about to go and find a business haram and your excuse is just, I want to save the life of my children. Is to go a lot of haram stuff, just to gather a lot of money. What's your excuse? I want to save the life of my children. If you want to save the life of your children, taqwa. If you earn business, earn it halal. Allah said very explicitly, وَلْيَخْشَ الَّذِينَ لَوْ تَرَكُوا مِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّةً ضِعَافًا خَافُوا عَلَيْهِمْ فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. If you are old man and you're afraid about your children after you, what they will gonna happen to them, I'm afraid about their future, I'm afraid. Taqwa is what save you and your children. وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. Number 2, Allah sent Al-Khidr specifically to that city to repair the wall and to leave the city. Sometimes Allah sent angels, sent some people for you specifically. It means when you are a pious man, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has a lot of junud, can make a lot of things for you and you don't know. Be with Him and He will protect you. In a way you realize or don't realize. That's the flavor of piety. وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. Third, sometimes some good news will come to you, but after a long time. Be patient. Sometimes you get married and there's no children. 1 year, 2 years, 10 years. And after that, Allah will give you pious children. Because this one of the qadr come late. One of my great scholars, my great teachers from India, Shaykh Muhammad Waliullah al-Nadwi, taught me the hadith. He didn't have children for 13 years. And after 13 years, Allah gave him in the same time 4 children, twins. 4 in one go. And now, alhamdulillah, they are very good, mashallah. So, sometimes they come late. It's a message for parents who struggle to raise their children in Western country, who spend a lot of money in homeschooling sometimes. They're picking their children, they try to when they come from the school, they take their children into the madrasa to learn Quran, sacrifice their time, their effort, their money. And their children, when they are young, so also naughty. All this struggle, you'll find the benefit later. Just like the story of Jidar. Sometimes the benefit of qadr come late. For anyone who has a child, and that child is very naughty. He broke everything in the house. He damaged everything. He always, when we go to our neighbor or party, oh, I feel embarrassing in front of my relatives. He throw everything. He did. Be patient. Later, you will find a great benefit from that child. That's the third story. So these stories, Allah taught us lessons. I will end, inshallah. These lessons is, we sometimes know the wisdom, sometimes we don't know. Trust Allah's plan and be with Him, you will find something unbelievable. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala bless us. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala relieve the pain of our brothers and sisters in Gaza. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala stop this war. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala protect them. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala cover them. اللهم استر عوراتهم وآمن روعاتهم واحفظهم بما تحفظ به عبادك الصالحين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله على عبد رسول سيدنا محمد.